Good afternoon, Cedarfield family. Hope everyone is doing well here on December 9th. This is a live chat. In addition to COVID-19 evolving preparedness plan updates, we have a couple other guests here that have information to impart. We have Matt Dameron, our Associate Executive Director, that will provide information about our neighborhoods. In addition, he's here with Ann Hopper. The two of them are going to tag team a discussion between, for those of you that live in independent living, talking about the nurse supervisor responding to pull cords, and what's the difference between that and this term we have around Cedarfield called dispatch health. So they're going to talk through that particular policy. Jack Johnson is here to give us a maintenance update. We have Rebecca Merritt here to give us a wellness and leisure update. And David Stewart will be here to provide a little bit of a dining update going through the high holiday here, both high holidays. And then Trish is going to round us out with some very great news of somebody who's actually done some just fabulous work here over the last few months. Her last day is today, and Trish just wants to acknowledge this particular person. So please hang in there all the way through the hour here of our live chat. So this December 9th finds us here. I'll go through the COVID-19 situation with some statistics. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about vaccine. So the current situation here in the Commonwealth of Virginia is that the 7-day positivity rate has increased to 11.5, as the epidemiologist told us about a half hour ago. That is up from 10.8 from Monday. It's up from 7.3 just 3 weeks ago. Here in Central Virginia, our 7-day positivity rate has actually remained flat. It's at 12.8, which is what it was on Monday, although that is an increase from 3 weeks ago of 8.7. So again, both those statistics have increased as predicted. In Henrico County, our 7-day positivity rate is at 8.3, which is also the same 7-day positivity rate as of Monday, so that's some slightly good news. Richmond City is up a little bit at 6.2 from 5.5% on Monday. And then Chesterfield is just about the same that we reported out on Monday. It's about 10.2. 4 weeks ago, Chesterfield was at 8.2, and now they're at a 10.2. So all statistics have risen, some of them over the course of the last 4 weeks. Other than the Commonwealth's 7-day positivity rate, here locally, everything seems to have been the same since Monday. At Cedarfield, some more good news to report as we did on Monday. Our health center, the 3 neighborhoods that we have in the health center, the dashboard is completely green for team members and residents. So that's great news. We are not tracking anyone as of this very second. So the health center is doing really great. In assisted living, that dashboard is also green as of this very second for both team members and residents. We're not tracking anyone in assisted living for either a positive case or pending cases or any of the other categories that we have on our dashboard. In Sunshine Plaza, more good news in Sunshine Plaza. We're just waiting one additional person to cycle off of their seemingly a month-long situation. This person should cycle off on Saturday and should be back to work on Monday. So that's good news. So I consider Sunshine Plaza our memory support area. The dashboard is green right now. And then in independent living, our dashboard is also green. I consider it green, although we have 2 positive team members. Both of these team members one will be back by the latter half of this week, and then the other team member will be back on probably December 21st, 20th, 21st, somewhere around there. Like I said on Monday and last week, these 2 particular team members, we've contact traced their whereabouts, and their exposure of others was extremely low, and we reviewed the situation with the Department of Health and got guidance from them as well. So at this point, I really believe Independent Living's dashboard is green as well for both residents and team members. So all good news on the dashboard front and the statistics. So as I had said on Monday, team members who are watching, residents who are watching either live or this video tonight, and or the families of team members or residents, keep up the good work. This week is really probably the most critical week in the eyes of the Virginia Department of Health, because we are 8 through the 14th day of since Thanksgiving, of when people will really start to exhibit signs and symptoms. And so the fact that we are here on December 9th with a relatively green dashboard throughout Cedarfield, we're in good position. I would ask that please, in your thoughts or in your prayers, if you could just send those prayers or that positive energy to the nursing homes and the assisted living communities and or the retirement communities in our county that have different situations. Doesn't mean that they're doing anything wrong. It's just this virus is really a crazy little virus, and sneaks into these communal settings in some weird and unpredictable ways. So I would appreciate if you could send your prayers or positive thoughts to folks. Secondly on my list has to do with the vaccine. There is so much effort going into the planning of the distribution of this vaccine between many different entities, most notably the Virginia Department of Health. There is a central healthcare coalition that's made up of many providers across the medical spectrum, between companies who actually produce medical supplies all the way through the hospitals. There's a really great coalition that's here in Central Virginia, between the Pinnacle Living Office here at Cedarfield and our leading age advocates. We really have a dynamite group of people on a conference call practically every day right now, filtering the information from the federal government and continuing to plan out what will be the first wave of vaccinations here in our local area. Just a word on vaccines. We are going to actually produce many of the words I'm about to say into a memo format or a flyer for team members and residents here in the next couple of days. But just want everyone to know that Cedarfield and Pinnacle Living, we absolutely take the responsibility of providing good education around the vaccine very seriously. We Cedarfield and Pinnacle Living, we are participants in this national COVID-19 vaccination effort. And we are formally a part of that effort through the partnership that we have with the Virginia Department of Health. The residents and the team members will absolutely be given an opportunity to protect yourselves and your loved ones through this vaccination process that we will unveil here the next couple of weeks. The virus really attacks people in many different ways. Many people have no symptoms at all, yet they're the ones that are carrying this disease, or they're just mildly ill and not self-reporting, and therefore they think things are great, but yet they are walking around, passing around this virus. So Cedarfield and Pinnacle Living is taking this vaccination process very, very seriously. Stopping this pandemic requires all the tools that are available to us, and now we have the vaccine. One email, not to be an alarmist because of just one email, but I have filtered and fielded several comments with this one email that came across my desk this morning. Oh, great, the vaccine is here, and we can, all this that we've been practicing over the last 9 months will go away by Christmas time. So that rumor is just a rumor. It's a big fat rumor. All of the tools, going back to the tools, all these tools that we have and the education that we have provided is the best medicine to combat this pandemic, which is really going to take us through April. The vaccine piece is going to work with our immune system, your immune system, and it's really going to help fight the virus. Both vaccines that are predominantly in the news right now require 2 separate injections, and so I'm just here to help kind of squash another rumor. If you get this Pfizer vaccine, the first dose doesn't mean that you have full protection. People have to get both vaccinations about 4 to 6 weeks apart in order to be 100% protected. Even if somebody has already contracted COVID-19, the CDC is strongly recommending that those individuals get vaccinated as well. We're still not quite sure how long immunity from this injection will last, but at least it's a start, and it's here to protect us. The shot is actually not a live virus. The messenger in the RNA in the vaccine will not enter or alter someone's DNA. That has been proven through the research. But this vaccination actually teaches your body how to fight the virus, which is the main purpose of it. And based on what I have learned, that the scientists have learned, is that through the vaccination, you can really help keep yourself from being very seriously ill. And so not only providing people protection, but hopefully we're scathing off unnecessary hospital visits. The other thing I have learned through reading and through working with the Virginia Department of Health is that we're talking about the safety of the vaccination. We're going to go on a little bit of a campaign over the next 2 to 3 weeks to talk about the safety of the vaccination. There seems to be an increased, not awareness, but an increased news media where they are, it seems like we're creating a little bit of hysteria around whether or not this vaccination is safe. And so we here at Cedarfield think it's important to show people how safe these trials have been. I didn't know this specific statistic, but over 300,000 people of various ages and races have been vaccinated during these two trials. 300,000 people. I was reading an article in a specific paper up in the Northeast, and it was quoted as saying that there was 50,000 people who went through these trials, and that's not true. There was 300,000 people going through these trials. And so, all that to say, when yours truly is on some of these conference calls with healthcare providers, senior living providers like Cedarfield, or nursing homes, assisted living communities, it seems like the majority of leaders in this in the medical field within the Commonwealth are not making it mandatory that people who live and work in our communities make it mandatory for the vaccine. And so Pinnacle Living and Cedarfield are heading in that direction as well. We are not going to make it mandatory for every team member or every resident who lives at Cedarfield to get the vaccination. However, we are going to go on a very concerted effort to provide good, healthy communication with the latest facts that we know about the vaccine, so that we can all strongly consider the facts and the details to make an informed decision of whether or not you should protect yourself and protect those around you at Cedarfield. So I am pledging here in the next 2 or 3 weeks to make sure that we have healthy content, good, reliable, researched content to educate residents and team members over the next couple of weeks. So that's all about the vaccine. Unless anybody has any questions, I'll check my text messages here over the next 30 minutes, and we'll maybe answer them on the tail end of this live chat. Please don't forget about the dashboard. For those of you that are looking at a quick glance of where we're at with certain items, namely the top 10 items of do's and don'ts, please go on to mycedarfield.com and you can get a snapshot of our preparedness plan right at the top of that COVID-19 update icon. So we try to update it every day. Okay, next up is Matt Dameron, our Associate Executive Director, with some neighborhood updates and a little tag team with Ann Hopper about emergency pull cords.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matt Dameron. I serve as the Associate Executive Director here at Cedarfield. Some good new team member updates from the licensed portion of the building. I did announce this at the resident council meeting last week, but wanted to make sure I do it here as well. Amy Jenkins has started with us. She is a registered nurse, and she is the clinical leader for the South Household in healthcare. She started last Wednesday. She's currently going through her orientation process. That's actually why she couldn't come with me today. But I'm going to have her come back next week and just give a little brief commercial about herself to have her introduce herself to you. She will be working with CJ Adcock, who is our new household leader in the South household. Another new team member that will be joining us is the lifestyles assistant that will be in assisted living. We're calling them lifestyles assistant. It could be, you might be more familiar with a recreation aid, rec therapy aid, activities person. Amy Hatfield will begin working with us on January 4th, and she actually worked here before a few years ago. So we were very happy to have her back, and she is going to be beefing up our programming in assisted living with the help of our neighborhood leader, Morgan Ford. So a couple of exciting things there. Another thing for assisted living is we will be enhancing our assisted living menu offerings. Jim Vernier and Chef Tyrone have done an amazing job working with Morgan Ford, our neighborhood leader, to kind of go back to some pre-COVID offerings in that area. Just very similar to independent living. We changed things up a bit to have things that would travel well. And now we've worked out a system with, they've worked out a system to go back to those offerings. So we're super excited to offer those additional menu items again for our assisted living residents. Sunshine Plaza, just want to brag on them for a minute. Michael did mention that we are in the green down there. I'm so proud of the team for what they've done. They keep saying we've kicked COVID to the curb down there. I'm so happy all the infection control protocols that they've put in place that they've continued doing while serving the population of Sunshine Plaza. It's just been remarkable. We're so happy for them, and hopefully we can kind of continue that going. Likewise with dining down there, we're actually a communal dining or some form of communal dining is so important with the population of Sunshine Plaza. So we have started that back again, very physically distanced from each other as much as possible, but we have started that back, and that's already helping a lot of our residents down there. An update about the Montessori program. So we will start employing the Montessori approach in Sunshine Plaza to programming, the way that we not only structure the way we engage with residents, but just the way that we run the neighborhood in general. We've spoken about this a few different times at some meetings, and we actually have events coming up to kind of introduce you to that concept. But the Montessori approach has been around for many years in various settings, but also in dementia-related settings as well. So we have two of our team members, Shannon Gus, the neighborhood leader in Sunshine Plaza, and Erin Chauncey, our recreation therapist in Sunshine Plaza, starting training tonight, actually. They are going to, it's all virtual now, but doing this 2-week program. It's an introductory course to set them on the path to become Montessori program certified teachers so that we can continue that program. It's our first step into the Montessori approach and just kind of a continued step in our culture change journey down there. So once they have completed that training in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have them come on and maybe give you a little update on that training and how everything went. Yes, very excited about that. And the crowd cheers. And every time I ask the team, the nurses especially, what they'd like me to share on this chat, they want to talk about COVID, but also the fact that it's cold and flu season. So I'm just going to keep saying it. Of course, we need to be mindful of COVID, but it's also cold and flu season. So please take extra precautions and be aware of that common cold and flu as well. Okay. So now I'm going to invite Anne up to be distanced but also together to talk a little bit about independent living emergencies. So, yeah, thank you. So we were asked to come here today and just give a little bit of background about how Cedarfield responds to emergencies in independent living. It seems as though there's kind of a common misconception out there that we don't have a system for responding to emergencies, especially when it comes to nights and weekends. And while we've always had a nurse to respond, there were some new protocols that were put in place during the early days of COVID to cohort team members and residents as much as we could. And I think that this is where some of the confusion came into play, not only for the residents, but honestly for the team members as well. So we just wanted to take just a couple of minutes and explain that process to you. So Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., the clinic, Ann Hopper, and others are here to respond to emergencies that may happen in independent living, the cottages and the apartments. Evenings and weekends, we have a nurse supervisor on duty to respond to those emergencies. So on evenings and weekends, all the time. In Sunshine Plaza Assisted Living and Healthcare, we have nurses and certified nursing assistants around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The nurse supervisor in the evenings and on the weekends is an additional person that we've always had there to supervise those people, but then also respond to issues that happen here on campus. The supervisor's role in independent living is to receive the pendant alerts or the pull cords. These go directly to their phones, but then also their walkie-talkies. And they also respond to just individual phone calls as well, and kind of triage the situation and to figure out how we should respond. There's actually a flow sheet that the supervisors keep. So when a call comes in, that can help them make a decision, whether it's to handle the situation over the phone, because it's something very minor that can either be handled over the phone, or wait until the clinic opens back up again, or whether we should call for additional services such as Dispatch Health, which we'll talk about here in a minute, or 911, and we help with that. Our supervisor, if that is the case, should take the initiative and make sure that all those services are provided for the resident, whether that means contacting them, going in and letting them on campus, things of that nature. Or if we need to respond in person. And really the only thing that's changed since COVID came is now when we respond in person, we wear appropriate PPE. You might, if we do come over, we might have the full-on get-up with gown and N95 mask and face shield, and that's to protect you, but then also the supervisor, and in turn the residents on the licensed portion of the building. So the supervisor is here during those times, but they're not alone. We always have a nurse that is on call, and that's a rotation between our clinical leaders over on the licensed portion of campus. We always have a physician on call. Melissa Seiler, our Director of Nursing, Ann Hopper, our clinic manager, myself and Michael are always a phone call away in case there's something that needs our attention. So I'll let you add some additional color.
Good afternoon. So what I wanted to go over in a little bit of detail from the nursing perspective would be a pull cord or a pendant goes off, and most of the time, 3 to 11, it would be a fall. So if you don't answer, the supervisor's coming. If there's a spouse, we had a fall, you're going to have a supervisor or myself during the clinic hours to come over and do that assessment. We know most of the time residents don't want to go out to the ER. There comes a time when maybe we can tell you have to go out from the fall, or we don't have the emergency care here to help that resident. So you might have to go out just for the big tests. We are going to rule out something big, and that's why you need to go out to the hospital. We try and keep you here. And then we might say to you, if you called and said your spouse, you think your spouse is having a heart attack, we might say, call 911 just because time is critical, or a stroke. But that doesn't mean we're not coming or the supervisor's not coming. They're coming. We will also, like Matt said, sometimes you'll call me, or you can call my phone number, and once I'm gone, it is forwarded up to healthcare, and you ask for the supervisor, and they will talk to you over the phone about whatever's going on. So you just need to know that you have someone available here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're going to go over dispatch health. There's a lot of moving parts to this, and we don't want you to think, okay, great, now I'm hearing about dispatch health, the supervisor, what do I do? The supervisor or the clinic is your main contact. That's the takeaway from me.
And another thing to point out about the pendants or pull cords is that it's a pretty nifty system, actually, and there is an escalation. So when those go off, they go directly to the person here on site, the supervisor. I'm talking about evenings and weekends. But it's important to know that there's an escalation after that. So if that call, if that pendant or pull cord isn't cleared, it goes on to other people as well. It escalates to our director of nursing after 5 minutes, and then it starts to escalate to not only myself but to Michael after 10 to 15 minutes. So there's a lot of checks and balances within that system to ensure that that all of the we respond to all of those emergencies as quickly as possible.
Yep. I just want to say one other thing that I forgot. A lot of 11 to 7, not all of them, but a good amount, some people hit them by accident. They might wear their pendants when they're sleeping. So our supervisor is going to call, and if you're a hard sleeper, you might not even hear that phone, and so they're going to come, and unfortunately you will be woken up. So they're checking to make sure that you're okay, and then they'll reset it. Or you could pull the cord by accident, and that's happened.
And so now we're going to switch gears slightly and talk just a little bit about dispatch health. We've said that quite a few times, even up here today, and we've heard it around campus. And so Dispatch Health is a company. It's one of our partners that started in Colorado in 2013, and now they have different offices in 18 different states. They do operate here in Virginia and actually here in the Richmond area. So Dispatch Health, their goal is to provide complete in-home care and help reduce unnecessary emergency room visits and hospitalizations. So they can do pretty much anything that an urgent care can do. The way that it works is you can either call Dispatch Health, or there's actually an app for your smartphone where you can request their services. And they send out a team to you. The team consists of, and they'll go directly to your cottage or your apartment. The team consists of 2 people, It's either a physician assistant or a nurse practitioner, and a dispatch health medical technician. And then they always have an emergency medicine physician available at all times on their phone. So if they get to a certain situation and need a physician's feedback, they pick up the phone, there's someone available 24 hours a day for them. They come in with these very large suitcases that has any medical supply that they might need for that particular issue at hand. And then they bill Medicare and additional private insurances as well. You want to talk about things that they treat?
Sure. All right. So I've used Dispatch Health with a number of residents. This is something that you can call on your own. I've given out a lot of little magnets and then even their little flyers, but the representative from Dispatch Health hasn't been in for a long time. The nice thing about Dispatch Health, they can help you nights and weekends. It's 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. They have come out to stitch someone in their apartment. That awful GI bug that was around a couple of Christmases ago, they can come out for that because they can run labs right there in your apartment. And if they find out you're dehydrated, they can hang a bag of fluids and they'll stay with you while the fluids are running. So they basically do a head-to-toe assessment, and they'll print out, they have their little printer, they'll print out a report for you. It will go to your primary care doctor, and it's just a great service that we can help you with. The most important thing that you need with Dispatch Health is your vial of life, which everyone should have. That's like a face sheet. It has all the pertinent information about you, medications, allergies, insurance information, in a container in your refrigerator. That's helpful for Dispatch Health. That's what I use when I call, because it gives all the information, and then they'll ask a lot of questions as to what's going on, because Dispatch Health is not going to come out if there's chest pain, loss of consciousness, stroke. Once again, that needs to be treated at a hospital. But they come out for a lot of ailments that they can help with. Neurological, if you had a fall and want to be assessed. And once again, a supervisor can help with that, or you can make the call. And sometimes it is confusing, so we help with that. A nurse, the supervisor, myself.
So I kind of see it as almost like a tiered approach. I don't want you to think that Dispatch Health replaces our nurses, or that we don't have them when we have to use Dispatch Health. That's not the case. We have our nurses here, but as Ann said, there's only so much that our long-term care nurses can do before we get emergency services involved. So it's kind of our nurses, this Dispatch Health option, and then if it's really bad, an ER visit. So it's just another tool in that tool bag to provide services for the residents here. So, and another thing, Ann mentioned that their representative hasn't been out for a while. So their area representative, Mary Catherine Colbert, I'm going to invite her to come, which we'll be more than happy to do, a presentation for not only the team members, but for the residents as well, so you can really get to know their services and how they can be beneficial for us. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Jack Johnson, the Assistant Director of Maintenance and Engineering. Today's update, I wanted to talk a little bit about seasonal safety. The state and national fire code regulations prohibit the use of fresh cut evergreens in our independent living and all of our health services part of the main building. This includes Christmas trees, wreaths, garland, and any other material that's combustible. residents and everyone are permitted to have living potted plants as well as artificial arrangements and decorations. Also, be cautious of your electrical hazards such as lights and extension cords. You want to avoid overloading a extension cord with too many lights and things like that. And also be careful with extension cords, trying to put them under rugs and things that could create a trip hazard there in your space. Also, when we're cooking in our kitchens and things, using the stoves, we want to be careful not to leave things unattended, set something on the stove, leave the room, take a reminder with you, maybe hold on to a spoon or something while you're in another room to remind you that you need to get back to the stove. Want to, just be safe as we can through the holidays and everything. That's pretty much all I have. Thank you very much, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Jeff. That's great. I carry my spoon as always. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rebecca Merritt, the Director of Wellness and Leisure. I'll be going over some highlights that we have regarding our holiday programs. These can all be found in your Informer for this month. So the holiday season is here at Cedarfield, and we are sure full of fun regarding our programming. We are continuing to have a nice variety of holiday movies that we're showing on Sundays here in the Fellowship Hall. This Sunday at 4, we will be featuring Scrooge the Musical. So we do have sign-up sheets available. We are typically passing out refreshments at the end of the movie just because we are encouraging everyone to keep your mask on while you're here with everyone else. So that is a requirement just for us to maintain proper infection control. Holiday portraits last Thursday were such a hit. We're continuing to leave the holiday photo shoot area in the atrium up in case you want to come by and take your picture or have someone take your picture with your smartphone, or also you can call Katrin, the lifestyle coordinator, Katrin Soltis, at 474-8758, or stop by the office in the atrium, and she'd be happy to use her digital camera to take some pictures. We'll also be happy to provide you with copies of these photos that you can send to family members, loved ones, and friends. Tomorrow at 10, we're having another donation drop-off. This will be in the hub. So if you have items that you no longer want or need, I'm encouraging you to stop by the hub with those. And these donations will go to the West End Thrift Shop. I know during our last donation drive, there were some individuals who were not able to come out due to the quarantine to drop off those items in their apartments. So once again, at 10 o'clock tomorrow, we're encouraging you just to help clean out your apartment and donate those items that you've been hanging on to that you no longer want. Also tomorrow from 2 to 4, we will be hosting the resident-hosted Christmas party for team members. I'll be walking around dressed as Mrs. Claus with Santa joining me, so I look forward to seeing everyone out and about for that. I know the team members are very excited, and thank you for all your generous donations. Our next bingo is going to be live streamed this coming Friday at 1. I know that everyone's really enjoying these live stream bingos and calling in. We're having a lot of fun providing some Christmas and holiday themed gift baskets and prizes for you all. So definitely tune in to channel 971 for that. We're looking forward to playing. Another upcoming event that we're going to be having is going to be this Monday in the hub. So in about 5 days, we're going to have hot cocoa, eggnog, and treats, just as a nice grab and go to maintain social distancing. But yes, it will be at 10 a.m. It's never too early for sweet seasonal treats. A few final upcoming events that we just have in the next week or two. Another holiday drive-through light show that's going to be Wednesday, I believe, December 19th at 7. That's in your Informer, that final date. And then also Tuesday, December 15th at 2 o'clock, we're going to be spreading some holiday cheer and volunteering to write Christmas cards, holiday cards to members of the military. So I encourage you to join in on that. That'll be December 15th at 2 o'clock. That's also listed in the Informer. And then Sunday, we're really excited. December 20th at 3 o'clock, we will be having Dr. Jim Lavender. He will be in the fellowship hall and also live streamed. He'll be performing his story, Mama's Table. So we're really excited about that. We hope that you join us for that and all the other holiday events. Thank you.
Great. Started 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm David Stewart here from the Dining Services Department at Cedarfield to talk to you a little bit about our dining programs that we're offering right now. As many of you know, when we went into the COVID situation, we had to change gears very quickly, and we began to offer a more limited menu and tried to prepare things that would travel well. As the months went on, we were hearing from people that were getting a little bored with the menu and wondered if we could reintroduce the grill menu. So we took a long, hard look at it and figured out a way that we thought we could do it. We also did a phone survey with residents to see what they preferred, if they wanted to stay with the existing menu or move to the grill menu. It was really interesting. It was very split. But the thing we did hear loud and clear is that people were bored and they wanted something new. So we opted to reintroduce the grill menu. The challenge with the grill menu, there's a couple of different things I want to share with you. One of which is, as you know, it's a much bigger menu, and there are quite a few things on it, and they are, to a large extent, a number of cooked order items that we call a la minute items. So the kitchen team, in the afternoon, when they get all the orders that have come from the call centers, they begin producing food, many of them, again, cooked order. And so we're doing anywhere from 250 to 350 call-in delivered meals per day. That basically means that the cook line is producing as many as 80 to 90 meals in a 30-minute time span for each of the areas in the building. So you probably know we have delivery areas, first floor, second floor, so on and so forth. So the team is producing anywhere from 80 to 90 meals in a 30-minute time frame. So that means they're cooking to order, packaging, and putting on a cart 2 orders per minute. So it is a mad dash, and the team really, really works hard to be as accurate as they can and to produce quality items. One of the other challenges that we found in returning to the grill menu was that a la minute items don't travel well, so we began to try to work on that and deliver to you foods that were, if you're going to eat them in the moment, that would be good, or if you're going to set them aside and heat them later, they would also be good. It is a real big moving target, but we're very committed to doing that. So please recognize that we're trying to prepare items in a way that you can get them and enjoy them later, as a lot of people do. So as we work through the weeks, one week turns into another and turns into another, we're always looking for menu items that we think we can serve to you that will make it to your home and heat well, or for the people who come to the dining room, will enjoy in the dining room. So we're kind of about a 2/3, 1/3 mix right now. 2/3 of our residents choose to dine at home, and about a third choose to come to the dining room and enjoy that service. So the team is very committed to preparing or providing a menu and preparing food that suits both groups of people. Another challenge that we face periodically, and we are certainly in COVID, is availability of certain items. As the country faces the ongoing COVID challenge and hotspots around the country, we do have certain industries, meat plants, for example, that periodically have to shut down or curtail operations, and that sends a massive ripple through the network. We work with several food companies. They're all extremely good food companies, and they typically can find ways to get us what we need here. I don't think there's been anything that we haven't been able to get. There's just been some delay on some items. That said, some things, because of these situations, have skyrocketed in costs. For example, lamb is one of those. Lamb is an item that the U.S. produces a fair amount, but most of our lamb is imported. And if you've tried to buy certain things this year, you may have found that they're difficult to find. I know that Jack and his team sometimes have trouble finding appliances. Most appliances coming from China aren't making it here. We're having a hard time getting lamb. So lamb prices are up dramatically. They've almost tripled, and sometimes we really struggle to get what we want. But we keep working at it. We have a great relationship with our food vendors, and we keep working on that. Some of the menu items that people have emailed and requested, I want to share that with you a little bit. Again, we're trying to present foods that travel well to our residents who choose to dine at home, yet work well in the dining room if we can. Some of those things, like a New York strip, they just don't work out. We get more complaints than we do compliments on that. So we haven't been offering some of those things lately, simply because they don't end up being palatable. So the tenderloin, we continue to serve. We're handling that in a very special way. For those of you who heard me some months ago, we're using an old French technique called sous vide to prepare those. So those do typically end up being delivered in the dining room and to people in their homes. And usually ends up being delivered quite well. So the sous vide works well for tenderloin, and so that's what an item we'll keep on the menu. But please don't hesitate to email me. Everybody in Pinnacle Living is first initial last name, so I'm D. Stewart, Stuart at pinnacleliving.org. And I do get a lot of emails, and I like to hear from you, and I do try to respond as quickly as I can. So thank you for your input, and we'll continue to provide you updates on everything that we're doing in the dining department. So I hope you have a pleasant holiday. I wish you all the best, and thanks for your support in dining. Thank you.
Thank you, David. One question did come in. The question reads, during your talk, could you please address the issue of whether independent living and assisted living residents will be able to get the COVID-19 shots here at Cedarfield, or are we on our own to find the shot anywhere in the city of Richmond? So just want to give the residents in assisted living and independent living a little confidence here. There are many entities working right now with the Virginia Department of Health to work out what is the process to administer vaccinations. You might hear on the news that the states have partnered with CVS and Walgreens, and that is absolutely true. Those entities are gearing up their temporary staffing patterns right now to be able to help communities like Cedarfield administer the vaccine. And so in the news, there's a lot of talk about long-term care, nursing home residents and team members being one of the first in line for the vaccine. But right there behind it is the residents and the team members in assisted living and in independent living. And so we are trying to work out with the Virginia Department of Health about what is that priority list and what are the resources that are going to help us administer those vaccinations. So the short of it is here, the residents aren't on your own to go find a vaccine. We will be communicating in the days and weeks ahead about how to access the vaccines that are available in the city of Richmond. Thanks. And here's Trish.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Trish Carter. It's my pleasure to serve Cedarfield as a chaplain. And next to me is Annie Van Hook. Annie Van Hook, as many of you know, has served Cedarfield as a chaplain intern for many, many months, and we are so grateful for all that she has done. In the world of chaplaincy education, there are internships that must be completed. We were fortunate enough to have Annie, I believe it was January of 2020. She was supposed to be here from January to April, but you all remember what happened in March. Annie chose willingly to return to Cedarfield in the midst of COVID to do another internship that began in the summer and ends today. We have been so grateful for her leadership in morning prayer, in worship, in special services. She spent a lot of time in Sunshine Plaza during this last internship. She spent time calling and speaking with family members. She gave individualized attention to residents and team members alike. We are so very grateful for you. As we close, I would like to read the famous prayer of St. Francis. I think that it speaks volumes to the work that Annie has done here at Cedarfield and will continue to do. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that Annie may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.